Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command Orion Pirates Plus Mod. And yeah, that did get a little bit jumbled there, didn't it? Anyway, I am Fleet Admiral Tarak of the USS MDR, and we got through last episode by the skin of our teeth, pretty much. We are down to 5 enemy tiles left here, and we're going to get on that just as soon as we possibly can. Just going to quickly check through, make sure the MDR is in somewhat fighting shape. We are down 2 ships from last episode, which is not great, but we'll deal, as we always do. So let's just jump right into this, and we're going to try and take out everything that we can. Once again, going for the stealth cap, because, dear God, these base assaults are just amazingly difficult. I'm not so concerned. What? Ooh, okay. I was confused for a bit there. What the heck's going on? No, it looks like it's the C. Lewis. Not to be confused with the C.S. Lewis, which is what we ended up naming our stuff, because there were too many copycat names. You are a heavy dreadnought, right? Just gonna double check on this. Yeah, it's a DNH-X, so this is what we would have been flying if we had the X-type ship of that heavy dreadnought that we had gotten. Oh, it's beautiful. And, well, actually, we may outgun it. 2, 6, 8, 12... 14. He's got 14 phaser X's, and we've got 12. So, well, we're not incredibly outgunned by that, actually. It's pretty impressive, actually. And there's the escort. Oh no, that's the Jackson, which is friendly. Looks like we're pincering this convoy. We got it coming from both sides. And a D5D is what the escort is. So we will pop over here, take a look. The Jackson is another one of our wonderful X-type ships. Although I think he's only a, I'm pretty sure he's only a fast cruiser and not the full-on kick-butt destroy things full-on cruiser. That's pretty sweet. Ooh, Jackson is having some trouble, I think, and needs to come about a bit with those Gatling phasers on. Come on, Jackson. Don't let down the name. And a hit he didn't need to take. He is fighting a D5. I fully expect him to kick butt and take names. And yeah, he's a fast cruiser. He doesn't have the heavy proton torpedoes, which does make him a little less powerful, but still. I mean, he will have 12 type X phasers and all that fun stuff. But anyway, back to the important matters of knocking out a convoy so that we can take down this entire sector much more easily. Although this really is the more interesting fight going on at this time, so we're going to keep watching it. Watch as the Jackson cuts across the rear and get into that rear angle. That's a lot of drone fire. And the great thing about that is the drones don't cost anything. He can launch those every single turn basically for free. He's outputting 7 drones, although after 4 rounds of combat he's going to lose this A-type. The A-type's of course only having 4 reloads compared to the 6 of the B-type. And then the C-type is either fires once every other turn or fires twice a turn. And then there is the V's and the G's, I want to say. There's another and I don't think there's a D-type missile, is there? There might be. I should have to go look up the Big Book of Armaments once again to find out for sure. But it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, there's a missile type that carries 4 reloads, a missile type that carries 6 reloads, a missile type that has 2 shots per turn, a missile type that has once every other turn, a missile type that has a built-in AMD. I didn't give you that. A missile type that has a built-in AMD, and a missile type that is the MIRVs, which are, you know, fantastic, as one might imagine. The ability to pump out that much firepower. Well, it's not that much firepower, it's 1/6 per missile, but still it has a lot of those missiles. It's just flat out phenomenal. We're going to close in here, and we're going to try and hit and miss every single shot. Get in there with the beams. Get off the missiles, we don't want to waste them. Just get through this fight nice and easily. Speed up time, doesn't need to worry. And they kill it with proximity photon torpedoes. It's gotta suck, man. Kind of reminds me of that scene in Das Boot with the getting depth charge. That's must have felt like. Just everything shaking and rattling all over the place. No idea if you're going to get out of there or not. And we did neutralize. So we will pop back up here and hope for a stealth cap mission. We're going to patrol. I know the scout is probably a little bit safer because we can get in there, scan, and run away if needed. And the patrol means we actually have to fight. We are supported, of course, by an XFF, so an X-type frigate. That will have heavy photon torpedoes, right? Oh no, it's the Mr. Tambourine, which is an Orion type, I guess. And he is armed with 4 X-type phasers, a single Gatling, and 3 missile launchers, 2 Cs and a V. Not exactly the biggest support, especially not after we just had that dreadnought in the area, which was pretty cool. But everything helps. Going after an Orion heavy battlecruiser. Oh, no, it's a light. So HBR would be what? Heavy battle destroyer? Not really sure, actually. What do you think that would be? HBRXP. I know it's got a lot of letters in it, so it could be an alphabet soup, but I don't really think that's the case, especially not for Orion ships. Oh, we have speed that we can use, and we're just gonna knock this guy over. There's no point in slowing it down for finesse or anything. He really doesn't have enough firepower to get through anything we can do. And, and this is how the Battle of Wolf 359 was demonstrated in DS9. Watch that episode sometime. Cisco has a flashback to the Battle of Wolf 359, and you watch these massive Ambassador-class ships just do rapid 90-degree turns and zoom off on the camera. It's hysterical. 168 prestige, and we take the tile. Okay, so that's the entirety of Klingon influence in the south. We now have to chug up north for these 3 tiles. The last bastion of Klingon power outside of Kronos, and then we'll head to Kronos and bash our heads against that for a couple of times. See if we can't take it. If we can, awesome. If not, no harm feelings. So, speeding up, and shields coming online right now. We are being supported by USS Tokyo. Tokyo, of course, being a Kirov-class battleship, or battlecruiser. You can tell because it has the extra B-type launcher, in addition to its 4 photon torpedoes. It's a pretty good ship. We used one for a while. He is an X-type version of it, though, so he does have the enhanced phaser package. Squaring off against a heavy cruiser. And I'm going to take this moment because just in case it never hurts to have this going, we are going to go with the full overload. Our weapons are not going to charge in time for this clash to happen, but I feel it's worth it. See if we can't get the forward reinforcement going in time. He's a D5WX, so D5 type doesn't make him particularly dangerous, but he does have a real lot of anti-missile defense systems. The Klingons deciding that they are not all about our drone ships. Not that we really have run into a lot of them. Well, I suppose the Kirov does have quite a bit of punch with that. Photon torpedoes coming on just in time to get involved in this fight, and we're able to get a full roll with it. Pop out a couple of missiles. He grabs one, can't grab the other. And I want to do a quick around turn so I can bring the A heavy phasers on. That might be enough to end him, but I don't want to, you know, waste the time or waste the energy to do it. So we're going to sort of slow boat it around him. Wait for the phasers to come online to end this game show. There we go. Okay, heavy phasers really do kick some butt. I'm going to set these back to normal. Don't need them on full-on overload anymore, because what we're fighting, well, it can't handle firepower, really. These freighters are coming towards us, so once again we managed to catch them on the ingress, which is wonderful, of course. Being able to nail them before they can really cause a problem. We won't bother with the reinforcement. Shut it off, just so we get an accurate count of what our actual energy needs are. Speed up to full power. Still charging that capacitor, but we will be able to maintain a fairly high speed. Select the photon torpedoes. That's one. Oh, you want to fight? You really want to fight? Oh, he's not dead. What a miracle. Now he's dead. Okay. Next one, we'll just keep this paint train moving. Don't shoot at maximum range, getting close. And one thing left in the convoy. Deselect the missiles. We are doing sort of a long-range patrol thing. And that's the mission. A whole bunch of really quick convoy missions, which is sort of what we're built to do. I mean, cruisers and battle cruisers like him, they are designed to go after these convoys and do a lot of commerce raiding. We're quick enough to catch anything that we can kill and fast enough to run away from anything that we can't handle, which is sort of exactly what you want to be. Oh, they've got a starbase there. And we are coming into the nebula. Not super happy about it. Nebulas are dangerous. Nebulas only allow our shields to operate at minimum levels. So, under normal circumstances, we're incredibly deadly. We really do kick butt, take names, but part of that is because our shields are really good. Deep here in the nebula, we don't get that. Just want to make sure my speed is on the right time. Yeah, here in the nebula, we don't have that advantage. I mean, we've got minimum shields all around. You can't reinforce the shields. Everybody's currently mounting a defense shift of 3, which means our photon torpedoes aren't going to hit anything. Missiles slowly kill themselves while they're in here. And he's a DXD. I don't know what that means. What is a DXD? Let's find out. Gonna send a probe your way. Hopefully you're nothing dangerous or special. If you're a fighter type, that's fine, because fighters also take constant damage from nebulas. In here, it is just dangerous and deadly, to the point where, actually, I'm not super concerned about those missiles, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to mount the overloads. Now this is, I'm going to say dangerous. I think dangerous would be the right term. The problem is that our range is going to be point blank anyway. So we're not going to be able to rush in and just overload them with all kinds of crazy damage. In fact, we can't even move and charge up our weapons on overload. Select these for maximum damage. So basically I am trading things in for a single point blank range punch, which, as you might imagine, is pretty dangerous. However, I do feel that's kind of justified. Well, we put all that power into engines, and look how fast we're going to be able to go. No point in prepping a scatter pack. It can't even fire in here. Long-range fire is just going to be non-existent. It's just not going to happen. I'm a little worried about what he's got to bring to the table, because even in this area, we just don't have a whole ton of armor. Okay, putting power into the evasive action. Now this is good for an extra couple of points of ECM, which is really good. But we can't fire weapons like photon torpedoes while using it. So I'm using it just to get in a little bit closer, and everything I've got, it wasn't enough. Oh, not great. Weapon systems to normal. Port side to offline. We do want to keep the speed up. We do have a pretty accurate view of just how fast we can go. Patch the engines. They are a little bit weakened. And the great thing is his missile is not going to be particularly effective. Now, we took a single loss to a photon torpedo and to one of our phasers. That's not great, but look at what he lost. 2 phasers and a missile launcher. So we're actually in a better situation than he is. Now I'm going to kick on the evasive maneuvers for that extra defense shift right there. I don't know if we can get above a 3 actually, so it may be pointless to be wasting power in this. But I like to think that it's worth something. Gonna line up for another phaser run, sort of what we are known for, because we're Federation. Basic maneuvers off. System, point defense, all active. Now that did ruin my straight-in run, but I'll accept it. High energy turn will be available shortly. Our photon torpedoes will be armed, and a phaser A, so this is good. We're gonna order a hook here, and let the turn commence right now. Okay, good turn. Brings us front onto him. Closing a range. Everything we got. 3 more photon torpedoes missed. Oh, but we do get in with some point-blank range mauling using the G-type Gatlings. He's really hurt. I don't think I can beam to him, so there's no point in capturing even if he was weak enough to capture. So now we're going to dart away once again. And for you, I'm going to spit a missile in your face. You should be able to take it no problem, but hey. I also don't think we can use mines in this soup, which kind of sucks. How much speed is he doing? He's doing 13. We're really trying to keep the speed going at full power here. The faster we go, well, the more options we have. He's barely maintaining 19, so we can outrun him. He's only going 7, which really gives us authority to boot him around as much as we want, which, you know, is half the goal of this fight. And he took out our forward shield with that, so we will present the full, if minimal, forward starboard side. You know who does kind of well in this soup? Frigates. And the reason why that is because frigates barely have any shield power anyway. I mean, Federation frigates, of course, suffer for it, but most other races, they don't care. We've got photon torpedoes ready and able and willing. Another couple of blasts from it. Wasn't able to get anything through, and we'll pull that away. Did manage to take offline another couple of phasers, which is good. We're not doing a whole ton of work on his heavy weapons. He's only launched 2 of 6 missile launchers, and this guy we haven't even touched yet. I am going to start getting to work on this phaser, though. It is important at this point. And, do we? We do, and we shall. And we're going to put power into evasive maneuvers. 24 is actually not our limit on speed, because we do have a lot of energy extra, but I do kind of want to leave some extra available for other things. He's opened up. We're going to get in nice and close here. Everything we've got. Now, I can't fire seeking weapons while using erratic maneuvers. That was dangerous. Okay. Erratic maneuvers off. Pop some fire right into him. We didn't take any damage, I don't think. So back onto the erratic maneuvers. Come on, turn it back on. Come on. Ah, whatever. It's not important. He's really hurting at this point. I mean, look at that. He's lost all but 3 of his launchers, so he's down to half on that. Both of his missile launchers appear to be down, or at least stunned, but if we get in range where we can actually get a detailed system scan, it'll probably show they're still up. And just because we can at this point, we're going to patch that so we can stay out here without having to worry about fixing it in the next match. Nice and close. And we did manage to hit with the photon torpedoes. Oh, he's not blocking it. Having to take that damage wasn't great, but the shields did take it like a boss. Now we're going to zip away from this guy and recharge a little bit. And we're going to get the erratic maneuvers going on again. Just because, you know, extra points of ECM. And there's no point in not having it since we have so much power to play with. We are closing in on a good angle. So I'm going to select these phasers, and I'm going to say overload. Oh, we can? Something wrong with them? Erratic maneuvers are off. And it is a bit long range fire. I know saying a range of 3 point whatever is long range, but in this soup, when everybody's holding on to a massive defense shift, I mean, it is a long range shot. I mean, look at just how much they fired at us and how little they've managed to do. And these guys should have been able to punch through shields and really hurt us. But they kind of haven't been able to, just because they don't have the firepower to do it. But also because they don't have the targeting to do it. It's not their fault, it's the fact that this nebula is so gosh darn deadly. So we managed to get a couple of photon torpedoes into him. And there we go. How did we damage ourselves? Not enough to matter. Okay, good. So that's a nebula mission done. We really want to avoid those as much as possible. They're too dangerous to stay in. So let's see how much we got for that. 334 prestige. And we're going to hit the last tile here. Still no mission came up for it. Another convoy raid. A bunch of these convoy raids. Gotta keep this starbase out of supply.
Battle stations.
Phaser 2 half. Speed up. And who do we got? Freighter, 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 freighter. It looks to be a pretty small convoy here. I'm only seeing 2 freighters. And no defenses. The Klingon Empire is kind of suffering, but still, that's a little light. I see 3 ships now on scanners. 4 ships. So there's the convoy. Where's the escort? If there is an escort. Hopefully there isn't. It's always nice to be able to jump on a convoy that has no protection at all. There it is. That's it. And a Q ship. Okay. So you are a dreadnought. According to this panel, you are a C9, which means you're less than the C10 we fought, but when we fought the C10 we had escorts. What are you carrying, friend? C9X, so he is an X-type. He's got 5 missile launchers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 phaser X's, 4 disruptors, and a pretty decent complement, 6 disruptors and a decent complement worth of anti-missile systems. We're going to set course for him. We're going to go reinforce the forward shield. We're not going to overload the point defense system, or not the point defense system, but the heavy photon torpedoes, because it takes so much power, and part of this mission is just catching up to these guys. And I don't want to risk that. Risk losing them because of that. You can only travel at like a speed of 2 while charging them, so kind of difficult to do. The phasers, of course, we are going to overload. The ability to pump out just double the damage for a little bit. It is going to take more out of our phaser capacitor. It is going to require us to actually spend more time charging things, but why wasn't I thinking of this sooner? We've gone this entire episode without using a single scatter pack. That's my defense there. I'm going to send a couple of missiles forward, see what he does with them. I'm not expecting much, quite frankly. And is the forward reinforcement? Yes, it's holding fine, because it's a pretty powerful reinforcement. We're going to increase the speed up to 15. Not for any particular reason, just I'm impatient and I want to get in there. Scatter pack is going to take its good old-fashioned time. So he's hit us with the disruptor, putting in a point defense, or into ECM. Just want a little bit more protection. He hasn't managed to punch through our reinforcement yet. Everything we got. 5 hits right into the forward, and I want... I actually held off on him because I was expecting a missile barrage that never came. Okay, I'll take that. You, offline. Increase speed. We are currently sitting at a defense shift of 1. He does not appear to be counter-ECMing us. If he does, we'll have to start putting in more energy. And our scatter pack is ready. And he's patching up one of his things. So, we have the range. We'll put a scatter pack out there. Do need to keep attention to the fact that we are repairing the starboard side now. There go the missiles, coming right at him. And he's firing fast missiles. He's fired a drone, which has sacrificed all of his major attack capability, quite frankly. We're going to come up on his rear and lay into him. Get in a bit closer so our phaser Gs can get in on this action too. And the other phaser Gs don't have a shot, but we will get a shot with the phaser X's. Really laying into him. Hopefully we're causing some decent damage to his, your Q ship. Hopefully we're causing some decent damage to his systems. Mainly his warp core is my primary concern right now. I'm outnumbered, which is an interesting feeling. Not really, I mean we are actually kind of used to being outnumbered, but not normally by freighters. A lot of these are Q ships. This is kind of like a poor man's trap. Blasting a couple of more into him, pulling aside, and letting the Gatling phasers poke through and do their nasty work. Causing as much havoc as we can. Pulling away nice and gently. He still is encountering this defense shift, which is really nice, actually. We are having a hard time keeping our phasers going under this constant power demand. So I'm going to order these back to normal. At this point, I need the rapidity of fire. I'm looking to knock out systems more than I'm looking to cause crippling damage. I know that sounds weird, but the point is the more attacks that you make, the more individual pinpricks you do, the greater the chance you have of actually causing systems damage. Just based on the way it calculates that kind of thing. And so, if I attack a whole bunch of times with slightly weaker shots, I can actually deal more damage to systems and shock them off than if I was... Oh, am I going to get the foot torpedoes on target? Yeah, 2 of them, or just the 1. Crew? Not enough. Anything? Yeah, I got a couple more phasers I can stab through. Anyway, as I was saying, a couple of more weaker shots will actually cause more system damage because it rolls on the system damage tile more times. Spreads it out. This is a concept way back from Starfleet Battles. It's called the Mizia attack, named after the guy who came up with it. So, it's a really important tactic at times, especially if you're looking to take out something that has 1,000,000 weapons on board. And that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Now the convoy is rushing away. I do have to end this guy pretty soon, otherwise we're never going to catch him. Well, they are coming towards us, I think. There we go. Okay. So, let's catch these freighters. Because they're frankly more important than playing around with a couple of Q-ships. The Q-ships can't win, but the freighters can. I know, kind of a weird concept there. So we're going to put in all power to speed, because we need it. That is going to make our charging rates go a little bit wonky. As you can see, charging up 1 at a time now here. Our phasers are almost recycled. Starboard photon torpedoes are ready to kick some butt. I'm a little actually worried about him getting away from me. Can you guys even keep up? No, they're matched at a speed of 10. They are still Q-ships. They only have a Q-ship's amount of power. We're out of missiles. It's pretty interesting. So we're going to blast forward as fast as we can. Catch him, catch him, catch him. That's the general plan here. At this point, ECM to off, don't need it no more. Okay, that's one. Zip it along. We'll come back for these Q-ships afterwards. Maximum speed. Because at this point we're hunting down freighters. We're not actually getting involved in a fight. So it's not so important to be super active about it. Oh god, they got close. Reinforce the forward shield. They got within sight of this thing. Look how close we are to this border. My word. Coming about, you're next, buddy. You cannot afford to live. So yeah, he got close to the border. We almost didn't accomplish this mission. I mean, we're going to have to go back and kill these Q-ships, but yeah, we almost lost. Because at the end of the day, the point of a convoy attack is to kill the convoy. And if you don't kill the convoy, then you don't win the mission. Accomplished the mission. Turning on the last of the Q-ships now. Speeding up to full power. They are going to have some missile launchers. So we'll go point defense on. No reason not to, really. And I don't think we lost our shields at all during this fight. I think we maintained a decent shield setting the whole way through, despite the fact we had to take on a dreadnought. Granted, it was only a C9 dreadnought, and C9 dreadnoughts aren't exactly the scariest things. We have fought C10s, and we've run into C11s before. Ah, he's a little bit better armored than I was expecting. But it didn't save him in the end. We're going to come up nice and close to you, and G-type phaser to the face. I want the other G-type phaser on you. You stand no chance, sir. Your only heavy weapon is pretty much down at this point. Give in. There's no point in capturing these guys. You don't get any bonus prestige. You don't get anything special for it. It just, well, it wastes your time. Which I'm not a fan of. So we've managed to take this tile as well. I think. I hope. That's the plan anyway. And we got to recapture this. Emnier is a little bit beat up and a little bit low on, well, everything. So, if this is a long-running base assault, well, it'll be painful. Apparently, we're fighting a Hydran starbase, supported by a ZMAC and a ZNCA. So, this will be a cruiser? Skin of Sea? Okay. And the Killing Song. Remember the Killing Song? It was on that one base assault that we went on that ended up going for like 54 minutes. Well, you guys didn't have to suffer through most of that. I ended the episode part of the way through and started up next time. So we've got 6 missile launchers here. That'll be pretty nice. We've got another 6 launchers here. 2 Bs and a C. So yeah. And we're fighting an FD-7, being the cruiser. Maintaining a speed of 9 as we charge all things. So that's where we managed to nail the phaser capacitor this time. It's an XBS, which is the smaller one. That's good. So we won't have to really kill things. And he's got a whole bunch of phasers. Only 2 disruptors, 4 missile launchers, and 4 anti-missile defense systems, which I suppose if you've been assigned to the Mirak border, that's a good thing. And that really is sort of what you want. So we're going to dart in here and kick some butt. I will, of course, spend 1 point of power, see what he does with it. If he doesn't pay attention to me with it, well then great. But if he does, well, having an extra defense shift is always nice. It makes things just a little bit easier. I know I haven't been using ECM pretty much at all during most of these fights, but on occasion they can come in handy. Most of the time I just have trouble justifying the power requirement. And now he's countering our ECM. Let's see if we need to add in a point. So we're overcoming his right now and putting in 1 point more, which gives us an ECM shift of 1, I believe? Yep. So is he going to increase power as well to counter it? And let's see what you do with it. I'm genuinely interested. Yeah, he's going to put power into it. We're going to drop it entirely. Everything goes to the forward shield, and there we go. He's got 4 drones that I'm expecting. I didn't shoot him. So I'm going to take away another of his shields. We've really ripped into him at this point. And a massive missile barrage. Not going to be enough to punch through. But the mine will. We're going to pull this weakened side away from him. He's still dumping power into it. We're going to see if we've managed to really hurt his power capabilities. Coming in and give me a good shot right in the rear. Haven't oh, we're slowing him down just a bit, so we did manage to hit a couple of his warp coils, which is good. Missiles are not going to get through that barrage. For 4 of those things, it's just too much for most things. I kind of want to go for the capture attempt. They'll never let me get away with it. So we're just going to keep on the fire. And is that the best you put out? No, you can put out a little bit more, but just not enough. Can't bring the G's into... There we go. That's what I wanted to do. So there's the defenses, and now we're on the base station. So power to the forward shield for the reinforcement. We're going to slow down to our speed of 9, which is our charging speed, and let these guys move ahead of us. Their strong missile loads probably won't make it through. I mean, 12 missiles is nice, but, well, it's a base station. That is, of course, firing its long-range weaponry our way. See what you got. It'll have white shields. We're almost positive of that one. And... yep, white shields all around. A single heavy disruptor, 2 Gatling phasers, and 4 phaser force. Oh, 3 Gatling phasers. Missed the one. And a pair of missile launchers. It is not the most devastatingly strong starbase. I mean, we have seen the most devastatingly strong starbase, and we sieged it out, and it took us an hour. I'm not kidding, guys. That literally took 54 minutes and 30 seconds. Or 51 minutes and 54 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to go with that one. The vast majority of that fight was not handling like the guys who were part of the defense group. It was purely trying to kill the base station. I was literally sitting there at a range of 30, just lobbing photon torpedoes at the same shield every time it came around. It was ugly. Increase speed to 15. We do want to get in there at the same time as these guys, roughly. We want the starbase, of course, to focus on these guys first, because that helps us. He's trailing plasma because the heavy disruptor does, in fact, punch right through your shields. He's trying to deal with the fighter group. Fighters are all dead now. Killing Song did take a couple of rough hits, but not enough to deter it from putting out an entire barrage. He's got 6 missiles outgoing. And Skin of Sea is the bigger one too, I think. Can't remember which one was the medium cruiser. So we're going to... Oh, wrong button. I only wanted to fire the missiles. So that was a bit of a waste. By bit, I mean a huge waste. Let's fire the heavy disruptor at him. Come on, Skin of Sea, fire. Fire your missiles. Okay, now I'm worried because I'm the only one going in. An attack shift of 2? What? How? Oh, because of his shuttle. It's probably going to deactivate. So everything I had couldn't hit with the missiles. I can't keep up with this turn either. We did manage to take out one of his shields, but it's going to be a while before we can really exploit that fact. 2 of his shields are down, and we took a hit through the rear, which is not good. It hits our exposed warp coils. The X-type ships seem to have an extreme vulnerability to that sort of fire. Punch through another one.
Light casualties being reported.
Light casualties. We're doing okay, I think. I do think we're doing fine. Phasers are about to come back online. I've got a single ready photon torpedo over here. I'd like to see you focus on him instead of me. Stops them all. So we clear the shields and everything we got into him. And I don't want to reveal G-type Gatling too much because that reveals our weakened shield. There goes the heavy disruptor again firing. Doesn't quite fire through. He doesn't have any defensive tractors anymore, so he's really aching. He's down to 2 phaser 4s, which he's repairing, and and nothing really. Actually, he's dead. Did take some rough hits in that. Did weaken us greatly, but I think it's worth it. 250 prestige. The tile is neutral. We're going to go in here one more time. The reason we're doing this one more time is I just want to make sure it doesn't come back. Now, because there's no starbase anymore, it's not pumping out any... It's not pushing out any influence for the Klingon Empire,
Stabilizing warp core.
which is good. But, on the other hand, it could always flip just because the game is fickle sometimes. Prep a missile, just because they help. And putting power on. What are we missing that causes us to have so much power? That's weird. I get the feeling I'm missing something. Photon torpedoes are charging at the normal rate. We did have a bit of a lag in the heavy phasers. In fact, I think yeah, it's decharging. I'm not so concerned about the heavy phaser. I am concerned about that heavy cruiser because you are a heavy bombardment cruiser. You have a weakness to missiles because you don't have any point defense systems. But with that said, you have additional disruptors, which makes you really difficult to push through. Let's see what else we've got to fight here. All freighters, I think. Yeah, all freighters and this heavy cruiser. We're going to take these phasers, put them on overload, As soon as the rear phaser is finished being repaired, we will put that one on overload as well.
Repairing
And I am going to take time to repair the warp engines again. This could be a rough fight.
scatter pack shuttle ready.
Got a scatter pack ready. We are going to prep another one. That is really eating into our reloads. But it's important because he has no real defense against it. Heavy bombardment cruisers, I mean, one of the reasons why we ended up not buying one, I mean, we did, but then we kind of undid it because we were having problems with the game. One of the reasons we ended up not buying it was because it didn't have any defenses. It didn't have any way of fighting against someone who was bringing missiles to the party. Which, as you might imagine, is not great. And we do bring missiles to the party. It's not a huge ton of missiles, but it's something. And now. Turning into you. Everything into your rear. I got 5 hits, which is wonderful. And I want the Gatling phasers on. They didn't get on, but we got a lot of missiles. He's going to cut now. We did manage to hit once, so that's good. We did weasel the rest.
Scatter pack standing by.
Oh, come on. He's turning and using his high energy turn to loop around to present the better shield. I'm going to pull away a little bit. Ouch, he does punch through. We're going to dump a scatter pack right here and hope it goes off. Come on, go off, go off, go off. Please. Pop, pop, pop. Yes! He's not going to have a second weasel ready. He will have Gatling phasers ready, though. Allowing us to fire through his weakened shield, though. Going to come back in on him. We're going to have to turn out left a little bit. And he took it. Come on, Gatling phasers, get the... Okay, we are punching through.
High energy.
I want a high energy turn. I've got 4 photon torpedoes with your name on it, buddy. Pull through the exposed side. Keep going through. Other way. We want to push through and come out on your weakened side. Gatling phasers are not yet ready. We did take some nasty hits from that. Come on, anything, any weapon. Nope, we're pulling away and we're weak. How's he on crew? 9. It's not good enough. I want the... Oh, port side is ready to fire. Patch crews. We need more power. I need more phasers. Let our point defense handle the heavy work and fire through the weakened side. Gatling phasers really getting in on that. Crew, he's down to 6. Able to dump a photon torpedo into him, exposing a weakened side, but he really doesn't have a whole lot left. Okay, there we go. The things we do for tiles. I'm not seeing any Q ships. We did lose our shuttle bay. Reinforce all just when they come back online. This is going to mean the end of our excursion up here. We're going to head back south after this to head back to repair, rearm. We did take quite a bit of chunking. It's been a long war patrol, and I think this episode has been dragging out a little bit long. I think we're a little bit longer than we normally want to be. But that's okay. We're getting close. Getting so close to the end, and I want that end. I want victory. Pulling in close. 1. You're next. Not going to bother fixing the photon torpedoes. You're dead. FSML. I don't know what that means. Small, medium, large. You're dead. Pull through the last of this formation. End everybody. And just to double check and make sure, how close do they come to the edge? Not close enough to see it. That's acceptable to me. Full power. Because we can. Last one. On to you. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. That's the convoy. So it took out another major Klingon ship. I mean, these advanced bombardment cruisers are not cheap. So we managed to take on another one with just a cruiser, although we're kind of good at that. And the tile is ours. So now we're going to dart back home. And we're going to briefly supply... Actually, you know what? I'll save that for later. We'll take a look at the map. I think we have that. I think that's wrong, but that tile probably is right. So, we've managed to basically wipe out up here. I'm pretty sure we have down here. In fact, I am going to zoom in just to double check it. Yeah, we have this tile down here. So the only tiles remaining are this one here and the home planet of Kronos. So in the next episode, we'll dart over here, take this out, and then come back to Kronos and ram our heads into a wall for a little bit. Empire Defense is 32. Empire Defense of this is 5, so this may take a couple of missions to knock down. This is their home world. And when we finally take that, well, that'll be the end of this campaign. So, until that happens, I've been Tirak. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode.